the rest of their lives behind bars. This is the punishment awaiting the saboteurs who attempted to blow up 2 trains on the Warsaw to Lublin line. This is, of course, if they are caught. We are certain, not just assuming, that both incidents were intentional, had their perpetrators, and that their goal was to cause a railway disaster. The identified individuals are 2 Ukrainian citizens. They had been working with Russian services for a long time. One of them is a Ukrainian citizen convicted in May this year by a court in Lviv for acts of sabotage in Ukraine, who was staying in Belarus. The other is a resident of Donbass. He also entered Poland from Belarus in the fall of this year. Both fled shortly after the Saturday and Sunday attacks through the border crossing in Terrorism. This was shortly after the attack, so they had not yet been identified by the authorities. Polish authorities and the prosecutor's office have all the data on these individuals and their images. The National Prosecutor's Office has already launched an investigation into acts of sabotage classified as terrorist activities. The prosecutor of the National Prosecutor's Office in Warsaw today, November the 17th, 2025, launched an investigation into acts of terrorism targeting railway infrastructure and committed on behalf of foreign intelligence services against the Republic of Poland. The proceedings were initiated in relation to a crime, punishable by life imprisonment. One explosive device detonated, the other did not, but both left traces that caught the attention of the investigators. It was possible to determine who purchased the SIM cards used in the phones that remotely detonated the explosives on the Warsaw to Lublin railway line. There are mainly 2 incidents. One concerns the explosion. We can already confirm that the railway tracks on line number 7, Warsaw to Lublin, were blown up. The other concerns damage to the power line and the installation of a camera phone on one of the rails, which was supposed to record. We don't know exactly what yet. A special team has been set up comprising prosecutors, officers from the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Internal Security Agency. They are to determine who remotely detonated the explosives and why one of them did not explode. According to investigators, the secured cards and phones will play a key role in the further investigation. This could not have been a coincidence. It could not have been a random event. We have no doubt that the damage to this track was caused by an explosion. This is indicated by the traces and evidence secured at the scene. We have permission to disclose that we have secured, among other things, a piece of wire. This confirms the information provided by TV Republica about the cable that was to be used to detonate one of the charges. But first things first. On Sunday morning, a train driver reported irregularities in the railway infrastructure in the area of Życin, near the Mika railway station in the Garwolin district. It was only by a miracle that a tragedy was avoided, because the police called to the scene the previous evening found nothing alarming. The patrol that went there did not identify any damage to the infrastructure, although it was late at night, after 10 p.m, so the police's activities in this regard continued until the early hours of the morning. This means that during the night, as many as 12 trains, including passenger trains with hundreds of passengers on board, travelled on the damaged tracks. The cargo exploded while a freight train was travelling from Warsaw to Puławy, without causing it to derail, but only causing minor damage to the floor of the car. The train driver did not even notice the incident as he passed through the area. The lives of many people hung in the balance, but Tusk's government is talking about the success of the services. Surveillance footage from nearby cameras has been secured, although the area itself, from the areas adjacent to the same railway embankment. Numerous materials and items have also been seized, found that may indicate and help identify the perpetrators. This happened on Sunday morning, several hours after the explosion. Then another act of sabotage took place. On the same railway line in Puławy, the traction network was damaged. It is not known whether it was torn down or cut. As a result of the incident, a window was broken on the train. Kierwiński should immediately resign from the Ministry of Internal Affairs because he is responsible for the weakness of this country. Apart from the fact that we are all working towards the same goal and must face these very dangerous, even terrorist acts, we need to understand where they come from. They stem from the enormous weakness of the state. Tusk's government has also exposed its weakness with its disastrous information policy. For many hours, the authorities did not inform Poles about the threat, even though the services knew about it. The government's information came far too late and was basically revealed by the media. So we, as residents of Garwolin County, a large county on the wrong side of the Vistula River, learn everything from the media. And these media have been very inconsistent from the very beginning, because the spokesperson for the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration gave completely different information. The Prime Minister wrote something completely different, and the spokesperson for the Special Services Coordinator wrote something else again. The question that springs to mind, but to which we are unlikely to find an answer in the near future, future is how it is possible that saboteurs, known for their cooperation with Russian services, were able to cross the border with Belarus unhindered and unchallenged. Meanwhile, there is more disturbing news from the Polish railways. Last night in eastern Poland, a Ukrainian railway carriage derailed. This took place right next to a strategic main line leading to the Ukrainian border. The police are investigating the matter, and investigators do not rule out that it could have been an act of sabotage. In connection with this series of incidents, the Polish Prime Minister has decided to introduce the third alert level, Charlie CRP, on selected railway lines.